Hi friends, how are we doing today? I know it's the end of The Mandalorian and I know that I feel like a little empty. It's like when you finish reading a good book or finishing a TV show and you're just like, now what? But how are you guys doing? How are we all feeling about the season finale? I know that this was like a very polarizing episode, to say the least, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. If you're new here, my name is Crystal Kyber, just like the Kyber crystals and lightsabers, because I'm a Star Wars YouTube channel. If you like Star Wars, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel because we just hang out and we like to talk about Star Wars here, and yeah, that's it. Before we get started, I just want to say that this is my first video with my new mic, my brand new mic, so I just want to give a shout out to the Baby Yoda Social Club and to Jason for bullying me into getting my together. Just kidding, it had to happen. I knew that my sound was garbage. I just wanted to give a shout out to them for pushing me in like the best ways possible. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's get right into it. Today we are talking about The Mandalorian Chapter 16, The Rescue. We open up this episode with a very classic Star Wars opening with a ship in outer space, and we are the Slave One in pursuit of an Imperial ship. And we're looking for Dr. Pershing. Why we're looking for Dr. Pershing, I don't really know. Anyways, so we get this really great intimidating shot of the Slave One, and I don't know about you guys, but like I always seem to forget how big the Slave One is, and I think that this shot was just such a cool way to show just how big and how intimidating the Slave One really is. Cara and Din board the Imperial ship, and we get like a really good back and forth between Cara and the Imp, and they are getting under each other's skin. And it's just kind of like this really tense moment that I really like because again it kind of explores this moral ambiguity. The Imperial officer calls the rebellion terrorists, and I just love this like back and forth of like who's right and who's wrong. And of course we know the Empire is wrong. So he ends up taking a headshot by Cara Dune. She just straight off blows his head off, and right away I was just kind of like, oh, this is how this episode is gonna go. Like, alright, that really set the tone. So next we're on our way to get Bo-katan and Casca Reeves. So we get a shot of the Slave One landing next to the Mandalorian Gauntlet, which is Bo-katan's ship, and we see this in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. So it was cool seeing this live action. The shot lingers on the Gauntlet and the Slave One, so I'm kind of wondering if Din will be the one to take the gauntlet from Bo, because Bo wants the Imperial cruiser. Din is trying to convince Bo to go with them, and she doesn't really want to do it until Din mentions, like, I can bring you to Moff Gideon. And again, I think this really establishes Bo's character of having her own agenda. Like, we don't really know whose side she's on. I think Bo's just on her own side, and I love that about her. Like, I like that she's not really a good guy or a bad guy. I think most of these characters are kind of like that, actually. And I love that when Bo hears Boba Fett's voice, she is just like, you're not a Mandalorian, and it goes back to this debate on, is Boba Fett a Mandalorian, yes or no? I love when Bo says, I've heard your voice thousands of times, and I love when Boba says, oh, it'll be the last voice that you hear. I love it. I love their little, and they start insulting each other, and then Casca Reeves says, oh, I didn't know sidekicks were supposed to talk, and she's literally the sidekick. Bo agrees to help Din if it means that it brings her closer to Moff Gideon. So we have our crew of Boba, Fennec, Bo-katan, Casca Reeves, Cara Dune, and of course Din. So they're gonna fake an attack to get close to the Imperial cruiser without them getting shot at. The Slave One is gonna chase the team into the Imperial cruiser, and then Boba is gonna go do whatever. And that will leave Bo, Casca Reeves, Fennec, and Cara Dune to take the bridge, take Moff Gideon, while Din is focused on just getting Grogu. But there's the issue with the Dark Troopers. The Dark Troopers are on the way to get Grogu, so Din has to disarm the Dark Troopers or make sure that they can't come in and kill everyone because they're scary. Once they're into the Imperial cruiser, we get a girl gang of all the girls just being badasses, and we love to see it. This is how you be inclusive without pandering. All these women were supposed to be there. It made sense that they were there, and it just didn't feel forced. It was really cool to see the girl gang. I love seeing them fighting. I love seeing them in action. So Din rushes off to find Grogu and to stop the Dark Troopers from powering up all the way. He finds the Dark Troopers just as they're entering into the ship, or like the main ship area. One of the Dark Troopers manages to get out. So we see Din face off against one Dark Trooper, and he's already having his hand full with just one Dark Trooper, not a whole platoon. And there's that part where the Dark Trooper is like punching in Din's head, and it was actually really hard to watch. He was getting punched so hard that his helmet, of course, was protecting him, but his helmet was denting the hallway. I was like, oh my god. And even though his head is protected, like his head isn't getting smashed in, like he's still getting his head slammed around. Like, I cannot imagine. And we see Din bust out everything. He uses his flamethrower, which just makes the Dark Trooper look even scarier. And then he uses his bird thing, his like song of birds or whatever, which does nothing. What ends up doing is he takes his Beskar spear and spears it right in the head, or like right in the throat, and basically beheads this thing. Like, okay, that's how it's gonna be, I guess. Din beheads the Dark Trooper, and then he is able to get the rest of the Dark Troopers off the ship. He like flushes them into outer space. Next, we see the girl gang take the bridge, and we find out that Moff Gideon is not there. Moff Gideon is actually with Grogu already, and he's standing there with his Dark Saber over Grogu, and it's just like, dang dude, like, he's just a child, chill out. Like, so Din walks in to Moff Gideon holding the Dark Saber over Grogu, and we get the saddest, cutest moment from Baby Yoda. Like, I literally love Baby Yoda so much, you guys. Like, his poor little face. Gideon tries to use the Dark Saber as like a bargaining chip, and Din's like, I literally don't care about the Dark Saber, I literally just want the child. So Moff Gideon tries to do a little sneak attack on Din, but luckily Din has Beskar on, and so they start battling. Moff Gideon and Din fight it out in the hallway. I love that Din is using his Beskar spear, and I like that when the Dark Saber is being held to the Beskar spear for too long, it starts to turn red from the heat. I thought that was really cool. I think that really shows the power of the Dark Saber. Of course, Din wins. He decides not to kill Moff Gideon, and Moff Gideon is just kind of like, interesting that you didn't kill me. And then we cut to Bo-katan, who is not happy to see Din walk in with the Dark Saber and with Moff Gideon. Like, she's not happy. And I'm like, girl, why did you just wait on the bridge? Like, why didn't you go look for Moff Gideon? Like, she should have been looking for Moff Gideon if it was so important to her. It's so funny because Gideon has the biggest eating grin on his face ever. Like, he's just like, he's just being petty too. Like, everyone in the show is so petty, and I think it's so funny. Din offers the Dark Saber to Bo. Like, he really does not care about it. He doesn't understand anything about it, and she can't take it. So Gideon explains why she can't take it, and it's because the person who wields the Dark Saber is rightfully the ruler of Mandalore. That's why Bo wanted Gideon, is so that way she can take Gideon down. So Din doesn't really get this, and he's like, just take it, I yield. And I know that this kind of contradicts what we see in Rebels when Sabine gives Bo-katan the Dark Saber originally, and I think what happened is because Bo originally got the Dark Saber in an unconventional way by Sabine finding it and giving it to her, she has to reclaim it the right way. Like, she already was given it and she lost it. So I think Bo feels like she has to actually fight for it because it's dishonorable for her to take it a second time after she lost it. Does that make sense? Before this is resolved, we see the Dark Troopers come back onto the ship. It's this really intimidating moment. Everyone's getting ready to have like a shootout. They're all kind of doomed at this point. It's kind of like this moment of like all or nothing sort of thing. Ride or dies, I guess. Also, I just want to say that when Din puts down Grogu like in the corner or whatever, I love when Grogu looks like this. I'm like, oh, I just love when he looks like a little old man, like a little old Asian man. He looks just like my grandpa, but like a cute little green version of my grandpa, you know, like. And then we get one X-Wing, and Cara Dune makes this offhand comment of like, oh, one X-Wing, like, great, we're saved. And I just have to say that I did not clock that it was Luke Skywalker at first. I know a bunch of people did. A bunch of my friends did. Oh, Luke Skywalker, immediately when they saw the X-Wing. My first thought was like, oh, maybe it's Dave Filoni or like the other guy. That's what I thought. I really thought it was one of them. I didn't think that it would be Luke Skywalker. Everyone else seemed to know that it was Luke just by the single X-Wing. Except for me. When Grogu did perk up though, that's when I was like, it's the Jedi. I think this whole sequence of seeing this cloaked figure come out of the X-Wing, it could be Ahsoka, it could be Cal. I literally thought it could have been everyone but Luke Skywalker. And the reason is because like I didn't want to say that it was Luke Skywalker and then have it not be Luke. It's so funny, when this episode came out, I had work like at 6 in the morning. I had to be at work at 6 a.m. So I got up at 4 in the morning to watch this episode because I knew that I couldn't stay off social media for 2 days. It was a 2-day shoot. So I was like, I have to wake up early to watch it. It's the season finale. And so I actually filmed a little reaction, I'll put it here, when I realized that it was Luke freaking Skywalker. I saw him fighting. I wasn't sure if it was Luke, but of course what did it was the gloved hand and the green lightsaber. I know that Ezra also had a green lightsaber, but it was the gloved hand. It was the gloved hand. My friend Mitchell said, how did you not clock it for the belt? Because the belt is very Luke Skywalker as well, but it was just happening so fast. Like, I literally was like jaw on the floor. Like, I could not believe that it was Luke Skywalker. So we see the Jedi just plow through these dark troopers so easily. Like, he's just cutting them down like it's no big deal because it's Luke freaking Skywalker. Like, he is just with ease. He's taking these dark troopers down with ease, and I love that. So while this is happening, Gideon uses this distraction of the Jedi to try to shoot Baby Yoda, and when it doesn't happen, he tries to take out himself because he knows that this is Luke freaking Skywalker. Like, Luke Skywalker is the reason why the Empire fell. So Gideon is just like, nope, like, no, like, this is not happening. Like, Luke Skywalker is here. Like, Luke go in the elevator and Grogu is like on the computer screen, like looking at this, and I like to think that they might be force communicating. Baby Yoda can see the dark troopers in the hallway waiting for Luke Skywalker, and I think that he is letting Luke know that there's like a bunch of dark troopers there. So when Luke comes out of the elevator and into the hallway, he knows exactly what he's up against. That's just something I like to think. So the elevator opens up and we get a scene that is very reminiscent of the Rogue One Darth Vader scene. Anyways, we see Luke just do the coolest things. He is just, it's just Luke Skywalker. It's like, he's just like going through these dark troopers like it's nothing. He does the force crush, which is so cool. Like, when I saw him do that, I was like, Luke Skywalker. Din's like, open the door. Fennec is like, no, don't open the door. Are you kidding me? It's a freaking Jedi. Like, girl, you should know that the Jedi are the good guys. Pulls off his hood and it's Luke freaking Skywalker. I literally was like, what? So we see Luke call for Grogu, and Grogu doesn't go, and Din's like, he doesn't want to go with you, and Luke is like, no, he's asking your permission, obviously, which is like so cute, so touching. And then Luke tells Din that Grogu is strong with the Force, but talent without training is nothing, which kind of, looking at you sequels, Din gives Grogu permission, and they have like this really sweet, touching moment, and Din is holding Grogu, and the whole time I was like screaming at my TV, please take off your helmet, and he does. And it is just like, it's such an emotional moment. Honestly, that was probably my favorite part of the episode. As much as I loved seeing Luke Skywalker, I think this moment between Din and Grogu was my favorite. And I think in this moment, it's really Din that needs to let go. So Din lets Grogu go with the Jedi. And then R2 pulls up. And for some reason, like, and I've talked to a lot of people after this episode aired, of course, but we all kind of collectively forgot that R2-D2 is always with Luke. Like, why did we all forget that? But once R2 rolled in, like, I screamed again. It was a cherry on top. Seeing R2, I was like, oh my god, it just felt like seeing an old friend. Like, I don't know, like, there's just something about R2-D2 that makes us fans feel something. So R2-D2 and Grogu, they see each other, and R2 kind of like wiggles around, and I know some people were saying that maybe Grogu reminds R2-D2 of Yoda, but I was kind of thinking that maybe Grogu and R2 knew each other from like being on Coruscant at the same time. So maybe Baby Yoda and R2 knew each other back then. So that's my headcanon, at least. One of the things I really wish that we got in this scene is I wish that Luke Skywalker said his name. I wish that he announced himself other than just being like, yes, I'm the Jedi. Because here's the thing, like, everyone in that room should have known who Luke Skywalker was. Luke Skywalker is the most famous person in the rebellion, so Cara Dune should have had some sort of reaction. Like, she should have known. Bo-katan would have recognized the Skywalker name, and Fennec Shand should have known who Luke Skywalker is. Everyone in that room should have known who Luke was, except for maybe Din. So I guess that's my only thing, is I wish that Luke announced himself, and I wish that we got a reaction from Cara Dune at the very least. I just wish that we had more of a reaction to who Luke Skywalker is, because he literally is so famous. I know that a lot of people were not happy to see Luke. I know that this was very polarizing for the fans, which actually really bums me out. Personally, I have a few friends that were not excited to see Luke, but I think the majority of us were really, really excited. It just made sense for it to be Luke Skywalker. We are 5 years after the fall of the Empire. Luke Skywalker is looking for people to train. He's looking for Jedi artifacts. I know some people were saying this should have been like a series finale instead of like the season 2 finale. And I kind of thought that too. Like, I really thought that we would be spending more time looking for the Jedi, and then it would be revealed that it's Luke at the very end of the show. But I think that just shows us that they have different plans with the Mandalorian. And I think season 3 is going to be more focused on Mandalorian culture, and just, we're going to have a face-off between Bo and Din. I know that we are. And like, the thing is, the story called for Luke Skywalker. Like, I don't know why that's an issue. Like, I understand that Luke Skywalker had his moment to shine. He's had his movies. But like, Luke Skywalker is literally Star Wars. He's literally the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. He's literally, it just makes sense for the story. Sure, they could have done an unknown Jedi, and I think there's potential for that in the future, but it wouldn't have made as much sense as Luke Skywalker showing up. And I know people are worried that Luke will kind of overshadow the show a little bit, and like, the thing is Filoni knows. When they introduced Ahsoka into Rebels, they wanted Ahsoka to do so much with Rebels. But the thing is, like, he understood that if you bring in Ahsoka too much, like, there won't be any conflict. Like, Ahsoka could literally come and end all the issues, basically. So they had to use Ahsoka very, very sparingly. And so Filoni knows that if you bring Luke Skywalker into it too much, it'll quickly become the Luke Skywalker show, because he's the hero. So I don't think that's going to happen. I know that this has caused a lot of discourse within the fandom, which was kind of like hard to see, honestly. I was kind of like, personally, my reaction to Luke Skywalker was, I was blown away. Like, I was so happy to see Luke. And so to see people react differently, and not just differently, like, we can all have different opinions. Like, if you're unhappy to see Luke, that's fine, like, whatever. But I just didn't like how people were trying to make us feel bad about seeing Luke. Like, I saw people on Twitter being like, oh, I can't believe people were getting emotional over seeing Luke when we had Luke in The Last Jedi. The Luke Skywalker that we got in The Mandalorian is the Luke Skywalker that we have been asking for 40 years. 30 or 40 years. The Luke Skywalker that we got in The Last Jedi was not the Luke Skywalker that we wanted or that we expected. And so I think just seeing Luke be such a powerful Jedi Knight and just Jedi Master, and just seeing him be this amazing character, it was what everyone's been asking for, you know? And I don't know why that's a bad thing. Like, I don't know why people are so upset that we were happy about it. And so we're kind of getting like a redemption with that. Something I don't like is people are saying like, oh, maybe they're gonna retcon the sequels. It's not gonna happen. Maybe that with the show they'll give us a little bit more context, because I think that's like what we're missing in the sequels is context. It's interesting observing the drama going on within the fandom, but I think the majority of us are happy. Funny, one of my friends tweeted, no one hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans, and it just made me like LOL. And I just want to say we're all allowed to have different feelings about it. Like, if you weren't happy to see Luke, like, your feelings are valid. I'm not here to say that you're wrong or that you're dumb or whatever, but like, don't make me feel dumb for being excited Luke was there. Like, Luke was there and he was badass and he was awesome, and I almost cried. Like, he was so good. He was so good. Like, we get our little after credits preview for the Book of Boba Fett, which I'm really, really excited about. I'm really excited to see more of Star Wars crime syndicates and like the underworld, and I'm really excited to see like a really gritty, dirty Boba Fett. I'm really, really excited about that, you guys. I cannot wait for that. I'm really excited about the future of Star Wars. What do you guys think about Luke Skywalker? Were you guys happy to see him? Were you not happy to see him? Tell me what you guys thought. I'm really interested to know. This season finale really was very polarizing, and I just want to know what everyone else thinks. I honestly was very, very, very excited. If you guys like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up. You guys know how it is with the YouTube and the algorithm and everything, so help your girl out. Help help your Star Wars girl out. Well, I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you very, very soon. This is the way.